Welcome to the Waldorf GridIron Club podcast, your home for all things football at Waldorf University, the best small college football experience in America. Hosted by Andy Buffington and me, Troy Thompson, from the secret gridiron bunker beneath Bolstorff Field. Now, let's meet the captains of today's podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to this episode of the Waldorf GridIron podcast. And, hey, we're changing things up. Troy and I, our guys are getting ready to head up to Madison, South Dakota and take on the Dakota State Trojans.
For the second time this year.
Second time, 45 to, 14 or 13 last time they came to Forest City.
Really got them. We really got them.
Yeah, we beat them like a seal pup. It was great. So anyway, what we decided to do is this last Saturday against the powerhouse of the North Star, Iowa Wesleyan University, the Tigers.
Listen, Andy, I'll tell you something about that. You've probably already heard this from our listeners that might have run into you on the street.
Okay.
The powerhouse of the conference thing almost bit us in the ass last week.
You have no idea how bad I was sweating on the sidelines. And it's just like, I'm like, please, guys. I mean,
yeah,
I am going to have to eat a full plate of crow if they would have squeaked it out. But I mean, we had some things.
We dealt with some. We had some issues.
Yeah, Coop went out early, with an injury, and he was done for the game. And thank God we got Carter Bruckoff stepped in there.
Yeah, he had. He played. He got 6 downs. I think he played 6 downs.
Yeah.
Because he was ready.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was QB 2 before the game, and then he. I don't know how that happened, but anyway, TJ Owens stepped in into QB spot, and TJ I don't think he thought he was 3.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how Carter does. It's his offense right now.
Yeah. And
then it's like, hey, TJ, you're in.
Yeah, that was a coaching change. Obviously, they decided.
No idea. I don't know how that decision.
It's not
was
like Carter took himself out of the game. It ended in an interception. Yeah. But that happened. I mean, with that, any quarterback can throw that. So
Jordan Cooper throws interceptions.
Yeah. So first time on the field in a game, 6 downs.
That was great to see.
Yeah. It was. I was excited.
I was over helping the trainer tend to Coop a little bit, and get pads off and things like that, and turn around and look, and here's this kid.
Yeah, I know.
Out here, like, oh wow.
Yeah.
Hey.
We've played teams, including Iowa Wesleyan, whose quarterback is a freshman, and you just think, oh, that's never going to work. I don't see how that's ever going to work. And obviously, we've had some stout competition. I can't think of off the top of my head. I think the best freshman quarterback that we played might have been, it was a home game that we. This is a terrible memory, so it's irrelevant. But
maybe St. Ambrose.
Could have been Valley. Actually, they might have had a.
Valley had that damn Justice Bice, who he's a 9th-year junior.
Yeah, but but he's not the quarterback.
No, he's their running back.
Yeah,
when you have Justice Bice in the backfield, and
maybe that's
all over
it.
the place.
And do a lot.
Their quarterback was not bad. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, so please don't misunderstand me, Vikings. But at the same time, so what we decided to do, Troy and I, is that it was senior day against the powerhouse of the North Star, and we got to be part of. Saying thank you to the seniors, those folks that were stepping onto Bolstorff Field, most of them for the last time, and there's a few that are they might still have a little eligibility and they might have a decision left. But we wanted to go through the list and talk about these guys that have really been instrumental in building this program to where it's at today. We have great coaches, but here you go, Chase. At the end of the day,
right, it's
about the kids, and it's about the guys that are out there, doing what they're taught and performing, on the field. So
at the at the game on Saturday, with senior day, we did talk about we introduced all of our seniors that we're going to talk about today, but we did it in order of numerical order is the way we introduce them.
Sure.
So we can do it that way, or we can hop around.
About the time we hop around, we'll forget somebody, Troy, at our advanced age.
Yeah, that's why. So it just depends if I need that pencil over there, and then I'll be able to keep track. But nope, that's the story of
no lead in that pencil.
You did, darn it.
Gross.
Good Lord. Okay, well, let's do that. We'll start in numerically in order. Then we right away with 0, and this is going to be a big void for the Warriors. Now we've got a good receiving core, so I'm very happy about that. But this guy owns the record for us.
Receptions and receiving yards, Sam Huntley, number 0 from Dania, Florida. You heard Sam here a few weeks ago on the Waldorf GridIron podcast, and Sam came back. You know, he did a senior walk a couple of years ago, and he had that year of eligibility, and so thanks to President Alsop, Dr. Bob, he was chewing on it, and Dr. Bob reached out and got Sam here. And you can't say enough good things about Sam Huntley. Good football player, good person too. He's quality through and through, and Waldorf will forever be changed by his legacy here, and he makes the people around him better. And those young guys, and heck, even some of our seniors that walked on Saturday, he helps them just in the fact that he's on the field.
Yeah.
Because there's not a defensive coordinator that doesn't look to see where number 0 is, just to make sure that he's not going to get in space, because he's dangerous. Mm-hmm. And so that opens it up for Seth, and it opens up for Malik, and it opens it up for Mike.
Yep.
And, those guys, we'll talk about them here in just nothing but a short couple minutes. But, the things that he's done here, he's given a lot to this university.
Right. Well, and so in the podcast, when we talked to Sam, he mentioned that it was Dr. Alsop who reached out and said, I don't care if you play football or not, just want you to finish your degree. Mm-hmm. And so that was the little push that he needed to get back here. And so on Saturday, when Sam was introduced, he was actually escorted by Dr. Alsop, who brought him out on the field. His folks weren't up here, so Bob brought him onto the field, and I thought that was appropriate, knowing what we know about how he got back up here. What his opportunities are in the future, when he talked to us, he's like he could turn pro. He's got some opportunities there. He certainly knows some people in the business. His brother. Is it for the Ravens? That his brother's with with the Ravens and
Tyler.
But he also has he likes to rap, so he's got some things going on there too. He hits the clubs and tours a little bit, so he's got just a very interesting kid. He did say they all fill out the little surveys so that we can have a good conversation, not only here but then also when we introduced him on Saturday and. They talk about their memories and whatnot. His plans are to turn pro and continue playing football. So, a lot of opportunities there. A lot of times, when somebody says pro, the first thing you think of is the NFL. And as
league,
Dave Bolstorff reminded everybody, a few weeks ago prior to homecoming, it's not about whether you make it to the NFL. It's about what kind of person you're going to be. Yep. And there's lots of professional opportunities and around the United States. We talked to some guys, and we can come back to it, but the XFL is an opportunity. The European League, I think Canada still plays some football. I think that was up in Calgary. The Western side likes it more than the Eastern side or whatnot. But so lots of ways to get paid and still play ball. Not to mention arena. So all of that. Yeah.
Well, and then you think of, obviously he's not with the team anymore, but Ryan Martinez, they call him Tino. Mm-hmm. Tino inked a deal with the league in Mexico. So he's playing football down there. He got picked up, and so it's not just the NFL.
Right.
Like you had said, I mean, there's a lot of different opportunities. You can go to Europe and get some experience, and that's really what Mike Mouton was talking about that last week. That sometimes you just got to take that shot. You might not get rich doing it, but it's like start putting up some numbers.
Yeah.
And then you might work your way into the league.
Yeah. Well, and you're also not going to it's not going to come along any sooner too. You don't wait and get better. I mean, you have to go and try your hand at it and see what happens while you're young and still in the game and available. Speaking of the European League, this is a little bit of a throwback and a shout out to, the former coach, Ken Anderson just had a birthday in the last day or two, and he is he was a European football coach.
Yeah, over in Germany.
Yeah. And that's where he met his lovely wife and started the perfect German dream family, I think, back in their home.
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, Sam Huntley, he says favorite memories playing with all his teammates through the years, and he's been around for a long time and absolutely going to be missed.
It shows. Yeah, we're going to miss you, Sam, and you'll always have family here at Waldorf University. So we mentioned him briefly, but we're going to move on, and we're going to talk about a young man that we actually had on here, I think, the last episode, Troy, wasn't it? Mike Mouton.
Yeah, Mouton was here last time.
Yeah, so...
Because the episode was called Cajun...
Oh, Cajun...
no, it's the...
Cajun Alfredo.
Cajun Alfredo, which is a great name.
And did he bring you any?
No. Did he bring you some?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Yeah, his mom showed up and
she heard it.
She made some Cajun Alfredo, and then so when I was in the locker room, had a big old plate of it. I'm just kidding. He didn't do that.
Okay, I was a little bit there.
The look on your face.
Oh man, that's a great name, Cajun Alfredo.
Oh yeah, that could be I don't know, a wrestler.
We do a good job naming our episodes around here, but it's always inspired by something that somebody else says.
Yeah, but Mike, just 1 year with the Warriors, and we're so grateful to what he's done here. Again, it's one of those, that receiving core that we put on the field is second to none. And Mike is just, he's a grinder. He goes. He's a super positive guy on the field, on the sideline, in the locker room. Yeah, you can't say enough good things. Sagu, sorry, but, we were blessed to have Mike here.
Yeah.
Mike is led by his faith, which is great. I know that a lot of these guys are, but it's very apparent with Mike.
So he said, with Paramore, he's like, man, I wish you had left a little earlier because I would have followed you to Waldorf sooner.
Right.
I wish that he had been. He said he'd wish that he had been at Waldorf longer than he has been, and I think that's a real testament to the community and the GridIron Club and the team, most of all, the coaches.
Yep.
And so that's awesome. He also is one of those. He is actually one that we were talking about that he does. He technically has a COVID year that he could use, doesn't he? So
No, I think he's done.
Oh, I thought he was one of those guys that still had some time.
No, I think Mike he's wrapped up.
Oh, he is.
Yep.
Done. Well, who am I thinking of? We'll come back, figure that out.
Oh yeah, I know a few of them.
Okay.
But yeah, so Mike Mouton, the gentleman from Monroe, Louisiana, he came up here and made an impact right away, and just again, his character is really what draws you to him.
Right.
And super, super great guy.
Well, and he, he forgave me for, I think he forgave me. He didn't actually say that. Maybe he didn't. He didn't. Yeah, maybe he hasn't forgiven me for mispronouncing his name, but the chances of his name being announced over the PA is likely, as he continues his plans after school is to go on and also try the pro league. He said he's had some looks, he's got some opportunities, and we'll see where that takes him. Because same thing with Sam.
Yeah,
it'll be fun to watch. I hope that it does happen.
Me too.
The more guys that can go on to get paid for what they do after. They got their degree from Waldorf, and then they can get out there in the professional realm. That turns a little more of a spotlight on our program and our community, and that's really what we're hoping for.
Wouldn't you love to see on Monday Night Football sometime a few years down the road?
Yeah,
Mike Mouton,
Waldorf University.
I'd probably start crying.
Yeah, we record that. Yeah, for sure. That would be great.
Yeah, so we'll keep moving through this list. Young man number 8, David Warren from Las Vegas, Nevada. We actually referenced David quite a bit on the podcast.
Yeah,
because he had a proximity issue with the microphone.
The Warren effect, the David Warren effect.
Yeah, that's right. Not the Warren Report.
Yeah, no, Yeah, that's right. Completely different.
Yeah.
That was a different episode, though, too, because that was Chapa that went to the Earl Warren High School.
Yeah.
And I forgot about David Warren, but David Warren was this guy over here. He was always away from the microphone. Yeah.
David Warren, for those of you that, what an intense individual. And it was interesting because I was standing in the back of the line on senior day, and somebody, one of the things he plans to do is get into MMA.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who it was. They looked at me and they said, "What did they say?" I said, "David's going to get into MMA as a promoter and a fighter." And all they said is, "I would never get in a ring with that man." I mean, he is strong.
Yeah.
Super strong, super intense. And I think if you got a shot on him,
yeah,
that's not going to help you at all. I mean, so
it might make it worse.
David, as tough as David is, he played on the defensive side of the ball last year. They moved him to offense, and he played some critical roles in helping the run game and the pass and stuff like that. So those things that in the stat book, is David Warren plastered all over there like Sam Huntley and Mike Mouton? No, he's not. But I'll tell you what, he married his role and he was all in.
Well, and you talk about that. I mean, he's going back to Vegas. That's where he's from. So he's like going, and he's happy to go back and make an impact in that same place. And you got to think that, I don't know anything about the professional fighting side of not that competitive,
Right.
The professional fighting side on like the military side, it's just like, break stuff. So this is, I mean, that's an interesting choice. He's a communications guy, so he'll be able to, put things together. I think that, Mark Newcomb, for example, got our kind of the podcast off the ground for us. He hooked us up with, getting us the first few recordings, helped us out with the studio, helped me out with the equipment choices and the selections and different things like that. And I always am a big promoter of the communications department at Waldorf. I just think that is one of the best in the country. And I have limited, experience with any other program, but so I am biased tremendously. But I think Mark does such a great job with his students, and he's an outstanding technician. And just watching him and working with him, I can see how he just is a consummate teacher and an instructor. And I also know it's a hard program to be in. And so I got to give credit to David, because the truth of the matter is that, there's probably, I wish we would have more people graduate from Mark's program, because I think that it's just so stellar. But I know it's so challenging, and a lot of times they start out as a freshman. They are just enamored with the facilities that Waldorf University has, the studios and whatnot, and they just walk through there on a visit, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm going to be a communications major. This makes total sense to me." And within a year, a lot of them are like kind of washed out of the communications, because it's high level expectations, and
it's
no
not
joke.
Easy.
No,
it's not easy.
And it's product that you can, not only that you're going to, like if you write a paper, when I was a history major at Waldorf, so if I wrote a paper, the only person that ever read that paper besides me and the unlucky family members that had to be around when I thought I was so brilliant would be the professor, But with their product, people see it or they hear it, and it's just amazingly critical. So congratulations for being a comm student and a graduate, and then heading into the UFC back in Nevada. So it's going to be amazing.
Well, and if you'll recall, the first time that we heard David Warren's name was when we had Callie and Will Finley on the podcast, just the two of them, which is one of our more popular podcasts. And David Warren babysat Lincoln and Barrett.
Oh yeah,
yeah, he was the guy. And so, and it's still, if the boys are around, it's not uncommon to see David carrying one of the boys around, so
that's awesome.
For as tough as he is, he's got a soft side, and he's an exceptional young man.
Yeah, for sure. We're very good. Speaking of Callie, before we jump into the next big news there.
I'm sorry, Dr. Finley?
Yeah, Dr. Finley now. So, and a doctor of nursing. So a doctor in the medical field, not a doctor of medicine, but a doctor of nursing, whatever the P
nursing
is.
Practice.
Yeah. So there's a P in there.
I don't know
what
it's
for.
Practice. And I could look back.
They only give it to doctors, I guess.
Well, and right. I'll tell you what, she, she's done. She still has some clinical stuff to do, things like that. I was talking
Thank
to Will
God.
about
You're
that.
so tired of hearing about, oh, I'm studying for being a doctor, and now you can't go any further. Get to work.
Yeah, no doubt.
No more. Just kidding. That could come back.
Super busy individual, but I mean, uber smart. And I always give Will a bad time, she definitely married down.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Some lunkhead football coach.
Well, who knows? You never know what the world calls for. But congratulations to Callie Finley, Dr. Callie Finley. Good on you. Good job.
Good on you, Mike. All right, we're going to keep moving through the roster here. Number 13, somebody else that we've had on the podcast, Malik Adams.
Yes.
And Malik, he's an Iowa kid, but he's had a breakout year on the football field. Malik's right now, he says he's going to be a financial advisor and maybe set up a trucking business, life after football. Now, the interesting part is that his father, came over a sideline, it was actually before the game asking like, hey, what time do we need to be down there? I said, show up at 2:30 and you get to walk Malik out. And he said, did I hear something about, you could get another year of eligibility with COVID?
There we go.
So I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't, and Malik and I have not had that conversation, but it's one of those where if we could bring back Malik Adams for another year, I mean, woe to the defenses that Waldorf would face next year. Because Malik, he's tall, he's fast, he's an athlete through and through. I would love to see him in purple again next year.
It's crazy to me that he is. It's not crazy. It's just it's actually interesting that the trucking business, set up a trucking business. Who would have thunk?
Well, right, and it's one of those things. Is it an easy business? No, but obviously Malik's smart.
There's a need.
The only thing that wasn't smart is the thing that he said his memories were road trips with the team. Did he remember going to Dickinson State?
Yeah, right.
Like Dickinson State or Ferris State this year.
Yeah.
Some long bus trips.
Maybe he was talking about other road trips or something like that. The road trips that you and I took when we were at Waldorf in different times. It meant different things.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, certainly wasn't a bus involved, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, well, and our hope is that that Malik will, if he does have eligibility, I don't know the answer to that he'll think about coming back.
Yeah.
He doesn't have anything to prove, which is great.
Yeah.
But man, there's a lot of upside. There's records made to be broken, man.
Right.
But if he does decide to move on and go into a career, I really hope he stays in Iowa, whether it's Cedar Rapids or even Forest City.
Yeah, you can set up a trucking business right here in Treetown and have a great time.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. All right, moving back through, we got another Iowa kid, number 17, Luke Johnson, a Forest City graduate. So obviously he's going to have a special place in our heart because Luke is he's been with the program right out of high school. He's kind of one of those guys that he's kind of everybody's buddy,
Yeah, a little bit of a kind of a godfather of the college football crew, isn't he?
Yeah, I believe he is.
I'm trying to think of why can't I think? What was the movie with Ryan Reynolds where he's like the college? Why can't I? The college guy, you know what I'm saying?
Yep,
that's kind of. It's not. I mean, he's not necessarily that much of a party guy, but he's definitely. Everybody references that they like to have a good time with Luke, and even Luke will say, "Yeah, I like to have a good time." So he's definitely the kind of one of those. He's a fixture on the team, and everybody knows where he's at and what he's about, and he's right there for everybody.
Yeah, so it's always nice to see hometown boy made good, and he's going to stay in agriculture, which is I think is phenomenal. That's his bread and butter.
Right?
You talked about growing up in that, and helping his family and things, and he's going to be set up. Obviously, he's not going to be afraid to work hard if he wants to get into agriculture whatsoever.
Yeah.
So he's going to have a lot of upside, and it's going to be great. And again, I hope when he says he's going to be in agriculture, he's not going to buy ground down in southern Iowa, that he's going to stay up here in Winnebago County and continue to be part of our community.
Yeah, I fully anticipate that he'll farm obviously around here with the family, and then probably be a big warrior booster as well.
So moving on, we're going to go to number 20 now. Alex Atherton. Alec was from El Cajon, California. That's the San Diego area.
San Diego. I feel like he was one of our first episodes. Is that right? Or no, wait, did we actually talk to Alex?
Yeah, we talked to Alex.
Because I remember El Cajon, yeah.
Now, wasn't his dad the one that works in a garage or something like that? You talked about flipping over a Toyota.
No, that was not Alex, but I know what you're saying.
I thought it was, but
it might have been that same episode.
That could have been, but
so many.
Yeah. So Alex is a criminal justice major. Just 2 seasons here after he transferred from Hastings. But the big deal is that Alex is going to have a lot of upside. Dean's List student, so he understands the work ethic. Mm-hmm. He understands that there needs to be a balance between football, academics, and social life. He's a very serious individual. Like the time that he was on the podcast, I think I did say, this is the most I've heard you talk.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And I know he's got his buddies and he's hanging out with them.
Yeah. And he says he appreciates the laughs, so that's good. Oh, yeah. I like it when a guy's got a sense of humor, as you can tell.
Yeah, but it was great to have his family came out here, his mom and dad, and then he says he's interested in becoming Border Patrol or a federal agent. Yeah, which that's gutsy, especially this day and age. There's a lot of stuff going on, and God bless the folks that stand watch over our borders. Yeah, but to do something like that. It's pretty huge.
Well, the old Border Patrol will, even though I know he's from California, that could take him anywhere, but probably won't be staying in Iowa. If there's, I don't know, unless we send him up to Emmons and he could just make sure that they're not, Border Fest, they're not crossing.
I just wonder if maybe we shouldn't have a controlled access border with the state of Minnesota.
It might not be a bad idea. That's. Yeah.
I mean,
during COVID, they'd sneak down here and they'd play golf in Iowa.
Yes, they would.
Because it was the best year for the local golf course.
Oh, I used to get phone calls from people so upset. People from Minnesota are playing golf down here. There's no law that says that. Yeah. Well, they're not supposed to be leaving their house. Or I don't remember.
In Minnesota, but Iowa, we were open. So they were like, well, we're going to go golf down there. That's funny.
Well, it's because here in Iowa, our liberties we prize and
our rights we will maintain. I love that. Amen. It's like a threat on our flag.
Exactly.
But it is the perfect passive Iowa passive aggressive threat. Hey, our liberties we prize and our rights we will maintain. I think that's
push me. So Alex, if it doesn't work out in Southern California,
put you on the border in Minnesota.
Yeah, we'll keep you up there, and
you and Zach Throne can be living together and just kind of
Well, yeah, but the problem is
then
we wouldn't have Burgett here.
Yeah,
I mean, because he's
oh God, yeah, right. Well, he might have to defect.
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
that would make the news.
Yeah.
So, Alex, thanks so much for coming.
We know that Burgett can run because we saw that after our podcast.
29 yards.
The old punting situation, and I don't think that was planned.
Dickinson. No, it was not. Yeah, as a matter of fact,
picked it up and got quite. You said 25 yards.
29,
30. Yeah. I mean, he was good and quick. So wouldn't you love to see the night vision footage of Burgett running across the Iowa-Minnesota border like he's trying to get into Iowa in the future? Okay, well there we know he's quick, so they're going to have to keep an eye out for him.
Definitely, and I don't think that that Coach Chapa was at the inception of Burgett's decision to run. I don't know if Coach Chapa was all in.
Oh,
but then once
it worked out. Did he take credit for it then? He's like, I knew what I was doing. That's just brilliant coaching right there.
Yep. I coach him up.
Yeah.
All right. Continuing to move on. Another young man that we had on our podcast, number 23, Tyler Dennis. Tyler's from Fernley, Nevada. That's around didn't he say the Reno area or something like that, or the Lake Tahoe?
He did. I don't know. I'm terrible with parts of the country that I don't know, but I know that he said he was from a small town.
Yeah, and so Tyler is actually graduating.
Now, like next month.
Yeah,
like this month.
Yeah, finals are coming up, and then he's gonna pack his bags and probably head back home. But yeah, 3-time North Star Player of the Week. He's and even again on Saturday, there was I think it was McCoy Yakel that knocked the ball loose when the Tigers were trying to get in the end zone, and Tyler jumped on it. So
got the belt.
Got the belt one more time. And he's had that belt over his head a whole lot, but he's another one of those that was so enjoyable to talk to, and is a man of character.
Well, and we said it during and after, particularly the podcast. We were talking, and the TD that he goes by, number 23 TD, and then I was like, God, he does sound like Tony Dungy. The delivery, his inflection, his tone, and then what he wants to do after he graduates, and I'm sure that he absolutely will, and he'll be outstanding at it as coach, and that's what he's focused on. And I
can't wait to see that. And again, you talk about Mike Mouton, Waldorf University on Monday Night Football, but someday to see somebody like Tyler, you obviously we want nothing but success for these kids, but to have them move through the ranks, and maybe he'll coach college, maybe he'll coach high school, maybe he'll coach Pop Warner. I just don't know, but he's got so much upside because he knows what he wants to do. He wants to take his love of the game and his knowledge of the game and share that.
Yeah.
And those things, the love, the passion, and the knowledge, you couple those together.
Yeah.
And you start passing that on. That's what makes a good coach.
Well, and the humility. I mean, he not only does he know the game, like you said, but the humility that he expressed while he was on the previous podcast.
Yep.
And what's so great about it is that you can see him on the field, and you can see how passionate he is, and that he gets the game. He knows his job, and he's a force to be reckoned with. And yet you talk to him, and he's like, I got to give total credit to the rest of the team, and all. It's like, oh my God, where's he? And so like a little bit of. He's just very, very humble, and that's he's going to make a great coach. There's no doubt in my mind whatsoever.
He had his coach Tyler Chapa, his position coach, escort him out on the field.
Yeah.
I know that his family's been here before this year, and so, to have that.
Yeah,
be pretty special.
All these guys have big plans, and before I lose track of my thoughts, which I'm prone to do, I just want to make sure we have got to, as the GridIron, make sure that we, certainly with the podcast, we have to make sure that we figure out how we can kind of follow up on these guys. This is the first year of the podcast for us, first season. I anticipate that, we'll continue to do this. I enjoy it. And so I look forward to, you talk about seeing these kids and where they're at as they grow up and become different things. We're going to have to start paying attention to the Twitter and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Just to see what they're up to.
I follow most of these guys on Twitter.
It'd be fun to see what it's like in 5 years and come back and say, let's talk to TD, and, he's a, coordinator somewhere and whatever, or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I really hope so. And again, he's smart, obviously, and so that's going to take him a long way. But he's going to be a college graduate here in just a few weeks.
Yeah.
And so he'll head back to the Fernley area in Nevada. I'm sure his family can't wait because it's a long way. Didn't he say it was like a 20-some-hour drive?
It's a drive, yeah.
He's got mountains to deal with. Mountains. So, so nothing but good luck to you.
But he does like the small town life. He appreciates it, and he apprecites Forest City. So real kind to Waldorf in the program and all of us.
Yeah, for sure. He's leaving a legacy there.
Really like Tyler Dennis, like all these guys, and he just was he made an impact after that podcast. I was telling my wife, I'm like, man, those are some great kids that we get to meet.
Right. All right, continuing to move through our list, we're only up to number 26. Tyler Hopp. We had him on not too long, I believe. Does Tyler live with Luke and Morgan?
That's why. Yeah.
Yeah. Because Tyler's one sometimes these people need to leave.
Yeah.
I want to go to bed.
Yeah, I think, that's right.
Yeah, so he came up here. He's a criminal justice major from Donaldson, Iowa. And he was the one that, and I can't remember the name of the town, Charleston Board of Trade.
Yeah, it was the Board of Trade. I don't remember if that was the town name.
Because I was talking to his dad on Saturday, and we were talking about that because we were trying to remember it, I think, even last week.
Right, yeah,
and his dad, Jason, he's like, well, did you see his deer? I'm like, wait a minute, he got a deer. He's like, oh, you got to see this picture. And, his mother, Candy, comes over and it's like, hey, you got to, he goes, show him the video and the picture. So Tyler shoots this buck, which good on you, Tyler. Way to go, buddy. And so he plugs this buck and it runs out into not a swamp, but he runs out into the water and dies.
Oh.
So, well, Tyler, being an industrious young man, decided, stripped down to his underwear, marched out and drug this deer back. And once he gets it on land and they're like, all right, let's snap some pictures.
Yeah.
And so he's got and I saw the picture. It was great. Of course, he's excited and he's got this nice buck.
Yeah.
And he takes a picture of it, but the head of the deer is covering his underwear. So it looks like he was out there naked as the day he was born, killing things, which at the same time, that's
seems right.
That's kind of primal.
That is primal.
I could see Tyler
like
do
he
that.
was maybe on like a full moon binge and could not help himself, and that's just evidence. He just wakes up and he's like, "Whoa, not again."
Yeah, right. But I'll tell you what, Tyler's he's a gamer. He's a guy that he gives it everything when he's out there.
That's awesome.
He puts hats on people.
Yeah.
So we're gonna miss having him around, and he's well. Hopefully, I don't meet him while he's working because he's gonna go be a trooper.
Yeah.
And man, I tell you what, that's and good for him. We need good people like that out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's who knows? Maybe he'll be down in Donaldson. I don't really see myself doing
that. Well, you're kind of close to law enforcement. Have you ever been pulled over before? Ever gotten a speeding ticket?
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
Was it state trooper or somebody else?
State trooper.
Yeah. Was it Dino? Because he likes to give tickets. Doesn't matter
No,
who
it wasn't. It wasn't Dino. I generally do not. I don't drive if I go over the speed limit, especially if I'm in my work vehicle, which
that makes sense.
is owned by the public.
Yeah.
There's really no sense in driving more than the speed limit.
Yeah.
Because
they know
people take notice of that.
Yeah, you're the only one that has that one too.
That's
so
true.
It's not like it's just a random.
But yeah, even in my personal vehicle, I don't really exceed the speed. I don't drive 55, but I don't drive 65.
Yeah.
Because what a lot of law enforcement says, 9 you're fine, 10 you're mine.
Oh, is that what they say?
Well, but at the same time, and then that's just. But the thing is, it's illegal to drive 56 miles an hour.
It is
when the speed limit is posted.
I agree.
55.
Yeah.
And so if you get pulled over, and like, oh come on, I was only going one over.
Yeah.
So you admit to breaking the law.
Yeah. Right. So, I never do that. I tell you, I've not gotten very many tickets for speeding. I have been pulled over many times for speeding, but I don't try to talk my way out of it. I just say, "Oh, you're probably right. I wasn't even paying attention." Whatever.
I don't want to put those law enforcement partners that I work with in a situation where they have to try to, And hey, if you deserve a ticket, you deserve a ticket. You deserve a ticket. It doesn't matter what you do for a living.
Yeah.
But it's one of those like I don't want to have to go sit across, have coffee with you in the morning. Like, so 78 and a 55. Huh? Not going to happen.
Sometimes it does help if they do know you, though. I will say that.
Well, I suppose it probably does, but again, I haven't been.
You're not in that situation. Yeah. I have been.
The speeding ticket that I got was
well deserved
in a personal vehicle. Yeah. It was before I had a car provided by work,
and
I was on my way home from meetings in Des Moines. I'd been gone a few days, and they had. I still remember listening to WHO radio, and they said, the Iowa State Patrol is going to be out on a special traffic enforcement program this weekend. I thought, wow, that's a pretty good idea. And then I look up on the bridge. I was doing like 76 back when it was 65.
Okay.
And I look up on the bridge, and there's a whole bunch of state troopers. And as I went under the bridge, here comes one down. All right.
Yeah.
And so thank you, sir. Appreciate what you're doing.
10, you're mine. And that's 11, so you're definitely in trouble.
I was all about that.
All right.
So Tyler, that's going to be some big shoes to fill.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, moving on to State Center, Iowa, number 30, Joe Halverson. And we should mention that the Hops and the Halversons, those folks are. They are a critical piece to that tailgate, and making sure that our players get fed after the game. So anyway, Joe, 3 years for the Warriors. He plays basically defensive end, but basically defensive tackle. And Man, I tell you what, the kid's all about technique. He talked about how Coach G really kind of got him into places to be able to use that technique to because he's not 295 pounds, but he's tall, he's super strong, and he's really fast, and that puts him in the backfield. There was it actually got us in a position on Saturday against Iowa Wesleyan where just because of his skill and his speed.
He had a great game on Saturday.
They high-load him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's the only thing they could do. Yeah. And so what that did is that kind of kiboshed a fourth down conversion for them. And they ended up having to punt. So,
right.
It's those intangible things that aren't measured, but at the same time, the coaches notice.
Yeah, for sure.
And they definitely bring that up. So.
Yeah. And talk about Trooper. I think his dad's Trooper guy.
I think he's like the Trooper.
Big Trooper guy.
Yeah. Yeah. He's
it's on his desk.
Dave's a big
Trooper guy.
I'm a big Trooper guy.
Big Trooper
guy.
Guy.
And it was funny. And,
but he's going to be a journalism.
Yeah.
Guy.
Oh, yeah.
He's a journalist.
Yeah. He's going to
be a journalism.
He's going to be journalism.
Yeah. What time of day is this?
Yeah. But Dave was telling me, he's like, I kind of like that your podcast drops on Fridays because he's higher up with the Department of Public Safety. And so he's got a nice office down there at the Orrin Pape building, just down from the Capitol. And he said, there's a lot of times I'll go in the morning. And he goes, if I don't have anything really pressing to do, he goes, I'll close my office door.
Yeah.
And listen to the podcast. He goes, I get work done.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, but I can't listen to the podcast. And if my office door is closed, you don't get a lot of people just barging in. He says, I got some privacy. It's kind of my
Oh, yeah. He is kind of the big guy up there. He really is.
He's like number 2 or 3 in the state of Iowa.
Number 2.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So when he listens to this on Friday morning, because he's not really doing anything, I just want him to know that his trooper, Dino up here, he should have quite a few tickets because he will, and I mean that in a good way. Like he will pull you over, and he pulled me over, and I'm like, oh, hey. And he's like, hey, you were going, know how fast you were going? And I was like, nah, I have no idea. But I was on the phone. I was so excited about something. I was talking to, hands free, of course. And then I look and I was like, oh yeah, I'm certain that I was speeding though.
Yeah.
And then he told me. So, yep. And Dino says 1 over.
Hey, it's against the law.
I know, and he's not wrong. I don't disagree with that. I used to say that when I was recruiting. Like, listen, they say, well, the cop did this or that. I'm like, well, you were speeding. Yeah, but no, you were speeding. It's not complicated.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the State Patrol, our DPS folks, deputy sheriffs, our sheriffs.
Yeah, God love them.
And our police officers do a critical
sure
job.
Do. Yeah, appreciate it.
So yeah, Joe's he's gonna be stepping away, and I'm hoping that Dave's actually, like, tomorrow is on his way up to Sioux Falls.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the drive from from
Des Moines.
Yeah, so hope to see them because I'll be there.
Yeah,
I'll be there on Saturday.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right, young man from Azusa, California, Nico Marasco, which I got a buddy that says that a lot better than I do.
Yeah.
His brother has a boat.
Does he though?
Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, his brother has a boat.
Boy, it'd be fun if I could remember the name of the boat.
You want me to tell you?
Do you know?
Well, now this is not. His brother used to be on another boat called the Fin Fetish.
Yes, that's what I thought it was.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
different boat now.
No, I think that he just got his own boat when we recorded that. But it might be the Fin Fetish.
Yeah, and I remember that conversation because we were talking about Catalina Island.
Oh, yeah, the Catalina wine.
The wine mixer. And he's like, what are you talking about?
Well, and some of the greatest parts of that is that, his folks were here to escort him out in the field.
Yes.
What a special moment for Nico. And Nico is, he's one of those super friendly dudes. He's, he's sitting there in the interior. He's linebacker. And, but it's one of those that, if I'm standing on the sideline, just minding my own business and, he's walking off or whatever, practice is over, he always makes it a point to come over and, shake your hand and say, hey, how's it going, coach? So I've always appreciated Nico Marasco. But he's talking about going to law school.
So then you don't appreciate
No, I do.
I mean, Nico, but he's talking about law school now, and I don't know.
Nico's uber smart, and I'm gonna miss him. I gotta be honest.
Well, the great thing about I'm not a lawyer, but I have a son who is, and if he's thinking about going to law school now, that means that he's available for the next year, because there is I don't want to say like a waiting period, but you got to take your LSAT, and then you have to get accepted. So, if you're not taking that in your junior year, you're probably got a little year break there after you graduate, which is what my son Tate did, and everything is. Well,
and
so that's normal.
Maybe he's going to work on his brother's fishing boat.
Yeah, wouldn't that be fantastic?
That would be fantastic. I think that's probably where
the fin fetish.
And I don't. Yeah, hopefully that we get that right. But yeah, he played 4 years here for the Warriors, and then he liked to go to shooters and
who does?
Boys.
Yeah,
we love shooters. But yeah, Nico is he's gonna. I can only wish the best for him. He holds a special place in my heart. He's, and let's be honest, they all do.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like,
that'll be a hole in the field.
And it's one of those that there was an argument one day in the locker room. It wasn't even an argument. They were just playing around. But I came in and was talking to some of the guys, and somebody said, well, I'm Coach Buff's favorite. And I'm like, and no, I'm Coach Buff's favorite. And then there was like, it's like, hey guys, this is like my kids.
Yeah.
I love you all. Some days I love you more. Some days I love you a little bit less.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, at the same time, and so when I say I have a special place in my heart for somebody like Nico, there's not anybody that we've already talked about or that we will talk about that I don't have a lot of love for.
Right.
And I try to tell them that as much as I can. I try to tell them that I'm proud of them, because I am.
Yeah.
I mean, for what they do out there on the football field, plus in the classroom, plus in life.
Yeah.
I do. I love each one of them, and I'm extremely proud of them. And talking about somebody to be proud of, moving on to number 34, Seth Oakes.
Mm-hmm.
Seth is a Texas kid, extremely intense individual. He's a lot of fun to be around.
Yeah.
And
heading to law enforcement.
Yeah. He talked about possibly military or law enforcement, something like that.
He mentioned it, but I think he's heading the law enforcement direction. I don't know if he's. That's what he says he's going to do, and I think that he could do both. I know that, but back to Texas probably is where I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's enjoyed his time here. At least I hope he has. But then again, his mom and his sisters and his brother came up to walk with him. So again, just that special connection, so that they had the opportunity to be up here on that big day. The last time that he takes a foot on Bullstorf Field, but.
He started the season very well. He had a great season, overall. But he started the very first game of the season. He was one of the player of the week. Yeah,
he was.
So
77-yard reception against Briarcliff over there in the Sioux. Seth is. I tell you what, we have good young kids.
Oakes, yes,
Oakes, absolutely. Yeah. And so, but we talked a little bit about Malik Adams and and Mike Mouton and obviously Sam Huntley. That quartet made us so dangerous, just for the fact that they're going to focus on Sam Huntley. That opens up Seth.
Yeah.
Or they're going to now Seth's producing. That's going to keep Malik open. There's not. We are stacked through and through. And again, we have great staff coming up. Some of our underclassmen, some of those kids that aren't getting a lot of playing time. And let's be honest.
How could you?
Look at these guys. Seth is he's super strong, super fast. And that was one of the things that I'll never forget against Briarcliff when he came over the sideline after that 77-yard run. It's like, who says I'm slow? And who knows? But I'll tell you what, he's got wheels for days. And again, Seth is going to be a huge hole in our offense, because, it's not just the, catching balls. There's other things that he's good at. He's an intense player, intense individual.
Well, he's our guy in the back for, punts and kicks. And he's just a lot.
Yeah. And it's one of he's kind of that Taysom Hill guy, because I think you could put him anywhere on that field and he's going to excel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So congratulations, Seth, and wish you nothing but the best, and can't wait to, I guess I'm going to drive slow through Texas. I don't want to see him again, You don't
want to see him that way.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Maybe me and,
That's how I once rationalized this whole law enforcement coverage of the roads. There's a mathematical equation in my head, and it's that they can't be everywhere at once. So there's a good chance that they'll never find me because I'm never on the hardball. Okay. And they don't want to get their cars dirty.
There you go. Yeah, it's true. They do like clean cars. Most of them. Most of them.
That's not true.
All right. So moving through, we're going to flip these numbers around from 34 to 43.
Okay.
That's a kid that goes by the name of McCoy Yakel.
How about it?
5-year starter for the Warriors.
Haircut to match.
Oh, my gosh. He's good. He's got glorious.
Tail and mane, contract, advertising shampoo, and just a local guy. I consider him a local guy, even though he's local now, but that's, local enough.
Yeah, and he played for West Hancock, who happened to win their state semifinal game.
Yeah,
so they're in the ship. On Thursday, so they're going to be going up against Grundy Center, who they beat last year to be state champions. And so, McCoy. What do you say? Seriously, what do you say? He's got the career interceptions record for a 4-year program.
He didn't break the single season, but you know what? I think that the one that he's got is better.
It is.
Yeah.
And I really, really, really want to see him get a pick six.
On Saturday. Yeah, wrap it up nicely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's one of the things, and he comes from good stock.
Yes, for sure.
Randy and Darla Yakel are salt of the earth people, and we talk about them ad nauseum on this podcast, but there's a reason. They're quality people that have raised a quality family. They're super fun to be around, and McCoy is just, he's a great kid.
Well, absolutely. Great family, lots of fun, great sense of humor. It was fun to talk to him on the podcast. He was actually one of the guys that when I filled in for Zarin, I interviewed McCoy, which was really easy for me to do. And he was fun, and his twin brothers were there, and the family's always there. And I'll tell you what, about these parents that that have made such an impact for the GridIron Club. And we talk about, Randy and Darla being the godparents of the GridIron Club. That's really true. And the problem is we don't just, you don't just lose number 43 on the field and under the name McCoy Yakel.
Yeah.
You lose, Randy and Darla. And that doesn't mean that they're not going to come to a Waldorf game and not going to see, but they are not going to be out there at 9:00 in the morning cooking burgers or whatever,
all the hops and the Halversons.
All of them. They just that's a big look, folks. There is a opportunity, and the next people have to step up, and the GridIron Club will make that as easy as possible. But it's really truly the parents that make that culture in the tailgating area what it is. It's we're there to raise funds and kind of hold the line, during the week, and we have meetings. They don't have to have meetings. They don't have to do any of that, but they are there and they are coordinated, and that's what these kids talk about. They talk about the experience of Waldorf. They talk about the closest thing to a D1 experience and the Warrior Walk and all that stuff. That's coordination between the kids, the coaches, and most importantly, this very special group of parents that, we just need to do something special for them and let them, and just in the meantime, I want them all to know. And I know, just for the board of the GridIron Club, we're just so thankful that we have parents like that.
Yep. So I'm going to take this opportunity to just say a few words and say, Jason Bruckhoff, are you listening?
Yeah.
Because we had a short conversation because this can't die.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that,
Jason and Jessica would be great to pick up that banner.
You want to talk about that family.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about somebody that could really go into a running with the Yakels as far as numbers. But it's one of those things we wouldn't expect them to, because, the Erdmans, the Hops, the Halversons, the Yakels, they're out there spending their own money, having a great time.
I didn't know where you were going with the numbers thing for a second there, because I was like, well, now Carter's a quarterback, and if McCoy's got the interception thing, we don't want those. That's not the stats we want to share.
No. but it's one of, I'd said something to Jason and Jessica, and they're like, oh, I don't know. It's like, we need to get, that group of parents to pick up the torch and go with it, because it's something that makes Waldorf University so very special to the kids, and the recruits. That's one of the things I can do on Saturdays when we have home games is I'll go over to the field house. A lot of the coaching staff will go over to the Bowman to listen to chapel prior to the game, and then they get together for the Warrior Walk. But I like to talk to those parents of the recruits and say, hey, you're going to see this is a very special place. If you've been into any other small colleges where your child has an opportunity to excel, not just on the football field, but academically, socially, and we're going to turn out a good product in somebody that you can be proud of. But then I'm not saying that, well, if Jason and Jessica don't take it over, but somebody needs to.
Yeah, right.
From the GridIron perspective, we need to make sure that is a tradition that lives on.
100%. And when that thing that you're talking about, these guys are, the Brookhoffs are big Hawkeye fans. And speaking of another Hawkeye fan and football family, in the community, I'd had the opportunity to talk to Chad Moore, and that so Kellen, who's just an outstanding football player, defensively just an animal, first team kind of guy, had the opportunity. He visited Waldorf, and they showed him a great time. They're very real with him, and I think that he likes Waldorf in a lot of good ways. Also had the opportunity to go down and see Kinnick, be on the sideline and do a team and do a visit there too, an invited visit.
Good for Kellen. I mean,
but Chad's perception on that though was so he's as a dad and obviously as a Hawkeye fan, but also as a football coach, and he says, okay, well now pay attention, like where what these recruit, everybody kind of does the same thing on recruiting day, so pay attention of how some of these kids are treated, at Iowa, and how some of the kids are, some of the other kids are treated, if that makes sense.
For sure.
What you see at the Waldorf stuff is like a real thing, and that's the parents. That's real. It's small. It's a small community. It's enthusiastic, support, and some of the big programs and some of that, they just are missing some of that hometown freshness. They're certainly very exciting, and I have no idea what is going to happen with Kellen or any of that stuff. But I just know that I appreciated Chad's insight into what that means. He thought that Waldorf did a great job, and that's important too, because he's got.
If Kellen were to give Waldorf a chance, he could be the next McCoy-Yakel very easily.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But we'll wait to see what the future holds. And I mean, Kellen Moore has nothing but upside. He's going to do well wherever he goes, and we hope he's going to be a Warrior. But completely understand, whatever. We just want the best for him as a Four City kid. All right, we're going to keep moving on here. Another San Diego area young man. We again also had on the podcast number 44, J. Ray.
Jacob Ray.
Yep. Mm-hmm. 4 seasons here with the Warriors from California. He's going to work in the sports related industry after he's done. J. Ray was fun to talk to. He's pretty chill. I mean, as far as get him off the field, and he seems pretty laid back. But J. Ray is. I remember hearing J. Ray all the time when I first got into the locker room. It's like I can't find anybody named J. Ray. But then it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess Jacob Ray is J. Ray.
Yeah, he liked that. And he also had, he says he's like always trying to figure out a move for the day. What's that all? You know what that's?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I thought you might know.
No, I could only imagine.
Yeah. What's his move for the day?
The move?
Jokes with the boys and trying to figure out move for the day.
Well, maybe he's going to bust a move.
Dance.
Yeah. Maybe you could edit in the doom doom and whatever.
I don't have that.
I'm not musical whatsoever.
Yeah, it sounded pretty good.
Oh yeah, thank you. I've been working on it. So again, how do you fill some of these shoes? Somebody like J. Ray, that guy that's he's nose to the grindstone kind of guy.
From San Diego. And
all right,
4 seasons for us. So
yeah,
the whole time.
I know, right? The kid's a stud.
Bleeds purple.
Yep, and he's gonna do great things wherever he goes because he's gonna be getting up every day and figuring out his move.
Yeah, his bio for the senior day said he's going to plan to work in a sports-related industry, which is what you said, and then eventually own an athletic business, which I read. And I always, when I was reading it, I as I announced it, thinking, so does that mean that the business is athletic, or the people that are in the business are athletes?
That's a good question. So maybe he's like going to buy the Padres.
Yeah, he's going to buy the Padres, in which case it would be both.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the athletes are part of the business. I see what you're saying. But if you own like a car wash, say, for example.
But the guys are just ripped.
It's just they're athletes. You're like, listen, our car wash barely makes money. We've got a huge payroll with all these athletes here, but we never lose the beer league softball.
That's right.
I didn't know what he meant, but I'm sure it's going to be great things there.
Yeah, we should
own an athletic business.
And
so for all of you non-athletic businesses out there, you lazy schleps need to get in the gym. Go see J. Ray. Yeah,
J. Ray will figure it out. Again, he's going to be sorely missed, and what a great kid. All right, moving through number 45, who had a pretty exciting Saturday against Iowa Wesleyan.
Yeah, another cop.
Austin Erdman.
What do you say about that guy?
Jeez. An exceptional. Well, dude, he's
Erdman.
He's such a fantastic kid because he's very social on with his teammates and stuff. And I don't know him outside of football, but an extremely. I don't even know how to explain Austin other than he's one of those people that you just like.
Yeah.
Hard.
Yeah.
He's extremely polite.
Yeah.
For one.
Been on the show. Yeah.
Yeah. And Austin's such a great guy. And it's one of those. So here's where I'm going to throw this in there.
And
I hope,
part of that group. Yeah.
Right. I hope Chad and Amber listen to this. And I know that they don't have a lot of pull. Austin does have a year of eligibility.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's got to go to the police academy. Did you know that? And that's right out his back door. He's from Little Falls. And I think that the Minnesota State Police Academy, I think that is actually at Camp Ripley. I can't back that up, but that's there. Yeah.
That very well could be.
So it's going to be there, Austin. Like there's no need to rush back. You
could
pick up another year.
Austin Erdman, you need to be a Warrior one more year,
right?
For so many reasons. But one of the things is continuing that culture of greatness. And I'm not talking about the football greatness. We already know that. It's just he is an outstanding young man.
Yeah.
Again, I'm sorry, I'm sitting here just kind of stumbling through words, but his family, again, they're part of that group.
Yeah.
That makes sure that our kids are fed. And if he leaves, and I get it, I totally get it. That will be a gaping wide hole. I mean, absolutely gaping.
Yeah. Well, he's, whatever he does, he's gonna be he says he's gonna go to law enforcement academy, gonna go to police academy in Minnesota. But man, if he's stuck around, we sure could use some enforcement.
Well, how many D linemen?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
How many D linemen in our conference? This year have a touchdown.
Yeah, he could be arresting these, tackles and things like that. Yeah.
But it's like, so Twan Collymore gets his hand on, was it that punt? Yeah. Twan Collymore gets in there, gets his hand on the punt, tipped up, and Austin, who, kid's an athlete, like you can't believe. And I remember watching that ball just, falling down there. I thought, ooh, another touchdown. That would have been so cool.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah.
And that was pretty exciting. My first thing, knowing the family just a very, very little bit from the tailgate and spending time around Austin and knowing what kind of human being that his folks have put out there, and they should be extremely proud. And I know they are.
Yeah.
But my first thing is that, it's pretty cool for Austin. But the first thing I always do is I turn around and look for his folks.
Yeah.
Just the excitement that they had and that family that they've created from the tailgate, just celebrating with them was pretty great.
Well, he and all of these folks, the parents, they have that they know that there's an end coming to those gridiron days just as much as the kids do. And it's a transition in their lives as well. So, yeah, absolutely. They look on the field and they see their kids play. It makes them very happy. Now, moving on to the alligator hunter.
Oh, the man.
Gator hunter.
The man himself. You want to talk about a head of hair. Number 48, Jimmy Bates from Van Cleve, Mississippi.
Yeah.
Got to meet his mom on Saturday, and I'll tell you what. I'm going to miss Jimmy.
Yeah, he's a character.
He is a character.
He's one of those guys that, I know that Courtney Woogie, the president of the Gridiron Club, is latched onto. They've gone hunting together. They've had a great, they have a great relationship. They work. I think he works a little bit with Courtney for different things, and just the times that I've gotten to meet him, and I've seen him in the community. I've seen Jimmy probably more in the community at Forest City. I've seen him at Baumgars, I've seen him out and about. I've seen him, we golfed together one time. He's just around. And I think that's, it's a shame that he would ever leave Forest City. So hopefully he doesn't, but he's got plans, Andy. Like he's got plans. He's headed to optometry school, I guess.
Yeah. So, he's actually been working at Family Eye Care.
Okay.
He's been, interning.
Yeah, for Trishelle.
And they love him. And
how can you not?
How could you not love Jimmy Bates? But I think he probably has to stay because, as we've said before, on Father's Day this year, I took Jimmy fishing. So I think, and I'd have to check the Iowa Constitution, but I think he's now technically my son.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, so he really can't leave.
I keep taking him fishing and everything. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, he's been adopted probably by several people.
And how do you not?
Yeah.
I truly, from the bottom of my heart, love Jimmy Bates like he's one of my own.
Well, and he says he's got some interest in the military too. So that, I don't know what he's trying to, impress me, but he's just an impressive guy regardless.
There's nothing Jimmy can't do.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, great guy. I like Jimmy.
All right, we probably got about 8 or 10 more. Moving on.
30 or 40 minutes, we'll be done. It'll be the longest episode ever. I'm not.
I think so. This. Yeah, good. Number 49, Edwin. Voracek. Ed is our long snapper, and I'll tell you what. Number one, great dude, super funny, and. So he spends a lot of time with the kickers and punters and stuff like that, and you don't understand his value until we don't have him anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that scares the living hell out of me, to be completely honest with you. Another San Diego kid, been here. He came from Palomar College, and what I loved about his bio, and go ahead.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
He's going to start a Domino's.
I know,
franchise.
Very specific.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I hope
he's a kid who knows what he wants.
I hope it's here. But but seriously, he's a worker.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to long snap, so I'm going to be on the field. Hopefully not a whole lot of times, except for PATs. Mm-hmm. But if you watch those punts, so we're going to get Burgett back to punt. Who's the first guy down the field?
Yeah,
Ed every time.
Mm-hmm.
And Ed, I'm going to apologize to you right here and right now. I couldn't always get you small pants, and he always wanted small pants, and I don't know why, but he's a special kid.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's one of those. I get to know guys like Ed just from. Because when I go to practice, I kind of hang out the sidelines. They don't need me out there getting in the way and getting run over by a receiver, or a running back, or a D-back, something like that. So I spend a lot of time with those kickers and punters and long snappers, and Gerardo is going to hopefully be our next long snapper. But I'll tell you what, he's got a great one to show him the ropes in Edwin.
Played for us 3 years and just a heck of a guy. Have you had Domino's Pizza?
Yeah. It was kind of late at night.
Yeah, that's kind of it, isn't it?
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But I like Domino's Pizza.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah.
But it is like that. It's kind of like the Denny's of pizza, isn't it? Like you don't necessarily intend to go to Denny's. You just end up there. And I think that's what happens with Domino's. And I like their commercials, and their pizza's good. We don't have one here in Forest City,
unfortunately, until Ed opens one.
Yeah, I mean, but there's one in Mason City. So I mean, and they're fast. They are. Fast.
They are, and one of the things I love about them, they use the technology where you can get on your phone, go into your Domino's app, and order your pizza, and then when you get to the store, it'll say your pizza's almost out of the oven, Mr. Buffington.
Unbelievable. Oh. This broadcast is brought to you by Domino's Pizza.
And Marlboro.
Yeah, but only the Domino's Pizza franchise that is owned by Edwin Voracek.
Yeah, definitely. Well, good luck, Ed. I can't wait. Again, just we talked about following along. I can't wait to see what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Number 52, we had on here not too long ago, Mr. Morgan Dostal, the man with the mullet.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I got
not the skullet, the mullet. You're trying to get me to do maybe it'll happen.
I don't know.
I'm doing the No Shave November beard right now, so we'll see what happens.
I can't do that.
No.
4-year warrior. He's going to be that PE teacher after he graduates. We talked about that quite a bit. And I think the memory that he's probably going to have, and we're always going to have of Morgan, is those 2 touchdowns on those punt mistakes from Simpson College. And I found it interesting when we interviewed him on the podcast. It's like, so where did you visit? He did name Simpson.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, suckers.
That was so great.
Yeah,
and he's one of the boys. Because that's what I love. He remembers tailgating and getting after it with the boys. How many guys said that?
Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah, most of them, to be honest with you. A lot of them.
Well, getting after it. Yeah. The getting after it with the boys was pretty great. I'm sure they probably sat around, because, him and Luke. But, well, Luke was getting after it with the fellas.
The fellas, yeah. Special teams player of the week, the touchdown Dostal. But most importantly, I think, here's a kid who he obviously loves the game too. And I don't know if he's going to be a coach. I would anticipate that he probably will be in some sort. He's an education major, and he is going to be at PE. And what's funny is that a PE teacher, so he has been at Forest City High School, and of course I've got a kid over there, and Jack recognizes him and has talked to Morgan on and off quite a bit. So I think that's great. He obviously gets along well with kids, and wherever he's going to go, he's going to make an impact.
Well, and Morgan's one of those guys that will get along with anybody. He has the type of personality where he's the guy.
He got along with us pretty well. That's amazing.
He's got the type of personality that it's like, I would love to sit around a campfire and drink a couple beers with him, because I think you'd laugh the whole time.
Yes, he was very good audience for us. We think we're hilarious, and he was just all about it.
He's so great. He's
if you got a good sense of humor, you're going to be a great PE teacher too.
Gonna have to.
Can you imagine?
Oh, gonna have to be. If we could just get cameras, and there probably is, but cameras with sound when he gets his first job, him talking to those kids, that would be great. They're like, oh, we love Mr. Dostal.
Oh, yeah. He has spent time, and we talked a little bit about it with a good friend of mine, the PE teacher over at Central Springs in Manly.
Yeah.
Craig Johnson is hilarious, and he just one of the and so PE teachers get the opportunity to bond with their kids in a different way.
Yes, they do.
And Craig Johnson's a perfect example. Morgan knows what I'm talking about, because he'll say, I was watching him one day, and he goes, "Now listen, kids. This morning I got my wife for my birthday got me one of those brand new, beautiful coffee mugs, and it's just really nice. And she's like, don't take that to school. You're gonna lose it. Meow, 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 meow. So anyway, if you see a silver..."
I knew where that was going. So if anybody finds it, I got a $5 bill in. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Dostal, the PE teacher, I could see him in bike athletic shorts and some spot-built shoes and maybe a tank top.
I hope that the days of PE teachers wearing sweatpants with the shorts over the sweatpants comes back. We want to go total Vision Quest style.
So is he going to have to put the mullet into a pony?
Oh, and he's got a mullet already. So
it's a
when
beautiful
you put
mullet.
it like that, then the sweats Vision Quest style has got to happen.
Yeah, it has to happen, Morgan.
There you go. In fact, I would wear that to the interview.
All right. Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll go on to a very special young man, number 56.
Another guy's going to be a teacher.
Zach Throne.
Not just any kind of teacher.
So Zach is another one, kind of like Sam Huntley. Zach, he was not with the Warriors last year. They were giving him crap in the locker room because it was senior send-off night at practice, and Cade Kloster-Hodak is doing the old, well, yeah, you just came back so you could get another senior send-off.
Yeah.
So they call him the old man, as everybody's heard. Zach is going to be a special education teacher. He is on the sideline of the people. There's leaders all over this team. So I'm not going to single him out and say he is quite the leader, and he is obviously a leader. But one of the things that I really appreciate about him was the game on Saturday, because there were some good things that happened and bad things that happened to the team, and we rallied and came by. But one of the things that will stick with me forever is, all right, so Connor Parker, our kicker, he attempted a field goal, like a 39 yarder again. And he's hit one of those earlier in the season. Wynn took it.
Didn't get it. Yeah.
Wynn took it, pushed it right, which, hey, Connor, those things happen. And of course the other team was a little tough on him. And of course he feels bad. He's a freshman. He hasn't faced.
He was hanging his head. I noticed that on the sideline. Yeah, he really was.
Well, I guess old dad Zach Throne got over and was chatting him up like, "Hey, you got to shake this off. You're doing great, man." Yeah. He is such a positive influence. He's not like in your face, like, "Come on, you need to do this."
Yes.
He's chatting him up, and the same thing with when TJ Owens, Coop goes down, TJ comes in, and it's like he's talking. Of course, you got a center and a quarterback.
That's right.
And he's talking him up.
Yeah, you got that guy.
He's coaching him. Is what he's doing.
Well, senior guy, senior, and most experienced. The center of the offensive line. The guy who's like, when it's the for whom the quarterback most greatly relies upon. Yeah. Really, that's where it all starts. The team, he's the guy that just says, directs from the very front of in the trenches.
100%.
What a solid base that guy's got, and what he brings to the team is so evident. I love the fact that he's going to be a special ed teacher. He's got the patience, the moxie, and the dedication to do that. And man, I just wish him so well in all of his endeavors. I'm sure that he would love to stay around the area like a lot of those Lake Mills guys do.
They do.
We'd love to have him in Forest City.
Oh, we would.
What happens? Yeah.
Well, Zach Throne, I can't thank you enough for taking a chance and coming back and playing one more year with the Warriors. People are better because you're on this team, and not how they perform on the field. It's how they are as human beings.
And he's also the guy that I would say, and I told you this, like, well, there was that 1 week you were gone, and I did the host by myself with all the coaches in the round table.
Did an exceptional job.
Thank you. But the original plan was to have Zach fill in for you because he's just so capable, evident from the podcast that we had with him. So very comfortable with the microphone, talking to people. He's going to do great.
All right, we'll keep moving on. Again, thank you, Zach, for everything that you've done for this program. All right, we're going to go on to a gentleman we haven't had on the podcast. He's from Menlo, Iowa. He's not going anywhere. So as we're doing these podcasts, number 57, Gunnar Powell, 4-year Warrior. And then I love that he plans to work for a nonprofit after football, drives a nice Prius.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And he is, I will say about Gunnar, he's the guy on the sideline that's never negative.
Okay.
Nothing's ever so bad that he's not going to be cheering for, because he doesn't get out there as much as I'm sure as he'd like. But he plays interior defense, and but it's one of those things. He's the guy that you always hear yelling for the offense or the defense. He's the vocal one.
Yeah.
And Gunnar, and I don't know what it is. I think that football players now are supposed to have long hair. Gunnar's always had long hair.
Yeah.
Number 57 out there. And it's kind of one of those, you kind of remember all the guys, but I don't know what it's been about, and I could tell you locker room stories, but I don't think anybody'd appreciate that.
Okay.
But anyway, because he has some funny things that he likes to do when recruits come through. And Gunnar, if you're listening to this, you know what I'm talking about. And
you know what a nonprofit would be if he could come work for the GridIron Club. We're 501c3, but we don't have any paid positions. So
no, we can't pay you, but you could work.
You could work for us. There's nothing that says that you can't work for the GridIron Club.
You bet. All right, so Gunnar, good luck in everything that you're going to do, buddy. You gave a lot of time and energy to this program, and I will always appreciate your positivity on the sideline and just the fun that you have in the locker room with the guys. Next is West Covina, California, gentleman, Cesar Rodriguez, number 67, and one of the really cool things, and it says that he was accompanied by the Hops. But I think there was like 10 people that walked out with Caesar. Mm-hmm. And he's just a little ray of sunshine. He really is.
Well, he loves the tailgates.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And who doesn't? But it's one of those. He's not afraid to have a good time. I know that. But
likes messing around in the locker room, he says.
Absolutely. And he's not the loudest guy in the world, but it's like everybody likes Caesar. I mean, everybody does.
Everybody likes Caesar, right? Except for
Brutus.
Yeah. You got me. You followed my train of thought. Boom. You did pick it up.
That's scary.
All right, this has been happening right now.
That's all right. Well, number 67, thanks for being a warrior. And, thanks so much for the positive energy and the camaraderie that you brought to this program.
Yeah.
All right.
That was just a great pickup. We almost did a Smothers Brothers there. All right. Another criminal justice major, West Covina, California, another 4-year warrior.
Yeah, for sure. And, Caesar, wish you the best of luck as you move through life. Now this next kid, I was honored.
That's you. You get to do this one. Yeah, Saturday. Are you going to... You're an emotional guy, Andy, and that's what I love about you.
Gerard didn't get a lot of playing time. He had some injuries. I had made a connection with Gerard almost right away.
Mm-hmm.
Gerard is...
you have talked about Gerard in other episodes and just the impact that... he's made really well, obviously on you. Yeah. He's been with the Warriors for 3 years. He just wants to get out into the world. He wants to do stuff. He wants to be a businessman. He wants He wants to have as many irons in the fire as he possibly can. And he just, he said, and I read it, that he has that it's just a blessing to be at Waldorf. Why do you think he said it's a blessing to be here, coming from Ocala, Florida?
Gerard is a glasses half full guy. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those, he's faced adversity, and he's met it, and he comes back. He has his down days. I love this young man.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love you, Gerard.
Yeah. Well, that is just so awesome. That connection is. Did he ask you to?
Well, okay. Here's the story.
How'd that happen?
So, Gerard was, again, he's had some injuries from last year, and then again this year, and so just some things that happened. So he didn't get much time on the field.
Yeah.
And he's one of the funniest dudes you'll ever be around.
All right.
Absolutely hilarious. He's the soft talker. He's the guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he was also he was also one of the first people to call in for the Father's Day episode, too.
That's right. Yeah.
So Gerard is, somebody said, well, Gerard's not going to walk on Saturday.
Mm.
And I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, all right. So next day I go to practice, not to do anything, to find him.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, so I just walked over and he's like, hey, coach. And he's always, like I say, I love this kid like you cannot believe.
Yeah.
But I just walked up to him and grabbed him by the shoulder pads and I said, what is this BS about you not walking on Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't, and luckily Coach Gould, who's another fantastic individual, had a long conversation with him about this is what you need to do. And I said, if you're worried about, your mother not being here, I said, I would walk with you. And I just offered it.
Yeah.
And he did select me. So I am honored.
Yeah.
And I'm going to call Gerard friend for the rest of my life.
That's awesome.
I love that kid so much. And I had no idea looking at his name but I'm going to miss him. Just something terrible.
Well, that is, it's sometimes, we've said it many times, and there's seniors that we've mentioned, there's going to be a big hole in the offense. There's going to be a big hole in the defense. How do you replace this? Who's going to fill those shoes? And then you get down to Gerard. He didn't play that much. And then you go, but why is there this huge hole in my heart? Why am I feeling the way that I am? Here's somebody that made an impact, on you and also on the people around him. Boy, that's the real testament. And so, way to go, 93.
Yeah, Troy, I'm so blessed to be a part of this program, even in a very small way. And I don't want to be out front ever. I just want to be, I've always said, in the rear with the gear. But it's the connections that you make with these kids that, as much as you'd like to say, I'm doing this for them.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you what, they have changed my life. I don't know if I've loved something. I mean, I love what I do. Obviously, I mean, not my wife and children and family and all that stuff, but I don't know if I could have enjoyed this year more.
Yeah.
And it's just about getting to know these fine young men. And obviously Gerard's one of them. He's a very special piece of that group of seniors as well as just general players. But I'll tell you what, I am a very blessed man to be able to know these young men.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'll tell you what, Andy, this just makes me, and we have one more left, and of course everybody knows what direction we're going into, but I just want to point out that you many times in this in these 30 weeks that we've been doing this in our first year of hopefully many podcasts with the Waldorf GridIron Club, talking about meeting these players and getting the chance to meet the parents and talk to the coaches, that you've also been in these 30 weeks down to Missouri to your oldest daughter's house many times, and that's because you miss your daughter, but you also she and her husband have 3, is that right?
Yeah.
3 foster children, and I'm sitting here listening to you talking about these players and how much they mean to you and Gerard particularly, and walking him out on the field. And I'm like, oh, I get it now. Like, I get where she got that. She got it from her dad. I'm certainly sure that mom had something to do with that. But look, you guys these are your foster kids, and what a crew.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I'm thankful to Waldorf University and our coaching staff. But I think we're going to end this on an extremely high note.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about somebody that gave Waldorf a chance after Iowa Central and came in and significantly changed the culture of this program, it will be DQ McCobb.
Absolutely.
His given name is DeQuan, and we don't call him DeQuan.
No, he said that. No. I said that all last year and part of this year.
He is one of this group. He is a leader through and through and through. The kids on this team look to DQ. He sets the pace and the tempo. He's not the guy when things go south that's going to come over and stomp and throw his helmet and everything else.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that happens. But he's the guy, a lot like Zach Throne, to grab you and say, hey, come on, let's stay with me.
Yeah.
And he's going to go out and battle every time. And he's so damn good that they got to throw 2 and 3 guys on him.
He's always being double teamed at least. Yeah,
absolutely.
And he still gets in there and he still makes an impact and he inspires everybody on the D line. And it makes it a lot easier for the guys behind him when he makes his way through that O line.
Yeah. And he's a competitor on that football field, but he is, wow, what a fantastic.
It's electric. To say just on game day, the anticipation of what he might do, the opportunity to say his name, DQ McCobb, and even to give him partial credit, because he's, a lot of times he's sharing credit with somebody else that's making it, but he's getting in there and he's getting a hand. And I watch because I like saying it, and the crowd loves it because they do love DQ. And how can you not? I mean, there's a big big bad man who's going to become. Looks like he's going to become a law enforcement officer as well. And God help the folks if he's back down in Miami or wherever he's down in Bradenton, I guess. My goodness, if he's wearing a badge, you better walk the line.
Well, and I think DQ was talking about actually probably not getting into law enforcement as much as he wants to work with troubled youth.
Oh, even better.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
and he
better.
just
even better. Yeah.
One of my favorite DQ moments was against Valley City. And there was a lot of great moments in the Valley City game.
Yeah, he had something special for sure.
There was one of our players was extremely frustrated about whether it's their performance or somebody else's. It really doesn't matter. And they came off the sideline and they were upset. And sometimes, as we all know, it's hard to control what you say and your emotions when you're upset. And one of his teammates was using some language that is definitely not PG. And I was standing near DQ, and he led, and he said, "Hey, there are kids in these stands. Watch your mouth."
Unbelievable.
And it's one of those that he's engaged in a football game.
Yeah.
The offense is on the field. He's waiting to get back out there. So he's watching. They've been coached up, and he's watching, but then one little thing, and he has that 360-degree awareness of there's more here than just what I'm doing on the field.
Right. Yeah.
You know, that he is conscious and very aware of the portrayal that if that's the type of team we had that was dropping F-bombs, screaming stuff like that. And again, does that happen? Sure it does. But at the same time, it's pretty rare. But DQ is the type of guy to make sure that not here.
Yeah,
this is not who we are, and that is not who we are.
No, right. And he leads from the front, and he's just aware of what's going on. Like you said, that's just boy. You would talk about the big hole, the big shoes to fill. He's got, he's definitely created a lot of holes and opportunities in offensive lines as he's been on the D line, just smoking things at nose for a long time. But he's also, those big shoes. He's got big feet, and he's obviously got a big heart, and that's the best thing that we all love about DQ McCobb.
Yeah, and DQ is and the thing is, he's got the smile of an angel.
Yeah,
and it's one of those things when he smiles. He'll light up the world, and I cannot imagine how fortunate some place is going to be to get a hold of DQ McCobb and make him part of their organization, because he's going to do amazing things.
Yes,
he works. He works, and he knows that he works. But on the football field, in the classroom, off the football field, we were really hoping to try to get his mom up here, but it just wasn't going to work out.
Yep.
And it's one of those things that DQ's mom, good show. You did an exceptional job, and you have so much to be proud of in that young man that you've let become part of our life for just a small bit of his. And we hope he comes back to visit.
Yeah, I would imagine that if there was a jersey, that if we were selling jersey numbers with names on them at Waldorf, and Yakels would make a good run at it.
Oh yeah, they
43 would,
for sure.
If nothing else, they would buy 2 a piece, and so there'd be quite a few sold right there. But there'd be a lot of 99s in that.
Yeah, I think
in those
so.
stands, little kids and adults.
Yeah, he's so great with just everybody. Yeah. So DQ, thank you for what you brought to this university, and being a football player. Because that's what brought you here. But at the end of the day, as Coach Paramore would say, you have made an impact that will have ripples for generations. And thank you so much for that.
Well, Andy, this is the longest episode, and I'm fine with that. I think it's only correct for us to take a little bit of time and talk about these senior leaders, these senior members of our program who have made such an impact. Their parents, thank you so much to all of those parents, and to their loved ones, their family members who have come and attended games, and special significant others, and so on and so forth. It's been just a great ride with this very special group of young men. We roll into our final game of the season, and Dakota State. We've played them before. We were looking for a win on the road. It's going to be in Madison. It's going to be cold. It's going to be the last game of the season. It's not where we thought we would be at the beginning, but we're either going to come out of this at 7-4 or 8-3, and that's 8-3, 7. That's just about 7-4 is tied with the best, and 8-3 would be better than we've ever done. So yes. Look for that. But when regardless of what happens next week on the podcast, we're going to be talking with more players. We're going to be talking about this past season, and we're going to be looking forward to the next one.
Amen. Well put. Well, that about does it for the longest episode in this podcast history. I want to thank everybody that took the time to listen. I want to thank each and every one of our seniors that gave so much to this university and this football program. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I love each and every one of you, and if you ever need something, I'll give you my number tomorrow. So with that, for Troy Thompson and Andy Buffington, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Waldorf Gridiron Podcast. And forever and always,
go Warriors.
You can join the Waldorf Gridiron Club today by sending a check to the Waldorf Gridiron Club, P.O. Box 125, Forest City, Iowa, 50436.
Or message us by visiting and like our Facebook page, Waldorf Gridiron Club, or email us at waldorfgridironclub@gmail.com.
Or it's as easy as clicking on the Support the Show link on your phone. Become a patron of the Gridiron Club by choosing to support the program monthly. $100 is the black membership at $9 a month.
The $250 level is purple at $25 a month.
$500 is the Warrior membership at $45 a month.
The all-conference level is $750 or $65 a month.
$1,000 is the All-American membership at $85 a month.
The champion level is $125 a month, and that's $1,500 a year.
$2,500 is the Hall of Fame membership.
The Waldorf Gridiron Club podcast is hosted by Andy Buffington and me, Troy Thompson. Produced by Sunnyside Farmstead Studios in beautiful rural Forest City, Iowa. The music is by Christian Leo. The Waldorf Gridiron Club is a non-profit 501c3 organization dedicated to football student-athletes of Waldorf University. Our mission is to assist the program in maintaining the best small college football experience in America.